Ready to experience the power of releasing what no longer serves you and awaken to a more beautiful, intentional way of life? You, my friend, are in the perfect place. Welcome to Above and Beyond Style. I'm your host, Maria DiLorenzo, and in 2019, I founded my brand to provide a unique, intuitive approach to personal styling and home editing for those ready to get clearer and experience personal freedom. With this podcast, I'll uncover key elements of where spirituality, psychology, and style intersect, revealing how you can make intentional choices to liberate yourself from clutter and live a clearer, lighter, joyful, authentic life. So let me ask you, are you ready to clear your closet and your living spaces to find your freedom? Then it's time. Come with me on this journey, and together we'll take your style above and beyond style. Hey friends, welcome back to Above and Beyond Style. So excited to return with this season 7 and all the promises of these stories of starting over. So thanks for joining. So I was thinking a lot about all the various topics and themes that I want to cover in this particular season. And it occurred to me that in some ways I can't talk about starting over without first talking about letting go. Now, from my experience, there's an ending and a beginning that happens simultaneously. And it can definitely catch you off guard if you're not paying attention. This is one of those times in life when two things can be true at once. You can be extremely excited and ready for something new, and keenly aware of how sad you feel about certain things being over. Well, this was me for sure. So let me give you a little example. Within the first month of moving to North Carolina, I knew I would need to transfer my car registration and title from Massachusetts and get a new license. Now, you're probably familiar with that DMV anxiety, which includes checking the list of items you need at least 100 times before you walk inside and praying for a smooth transaction to take place. I have my friend here in North Carolina to thank for talking me through everything more than once, so I felt ready. I came to understand soon, though, that this was one of many processes I would have to go through to make my move legitimate. And honestly, I just prayed the DMV gods would have mercy on me. Well, the good news is that I somehow scored an appointment online at the DMV location close by my house, which I heard was pretty hard to come by. So I was already feeling like I had scored. I walked in, had the agent greet me pretty quickly. He confirmed I was checked in properly. And this was also about the time I realized, oh, right, I'm in the South again, where customer service actually feels like customer service. And no shade to my northern friends, but you kind of know what I'm talking about here. And I had been sitting, I think, no more than a minute before my number was called to meet with the agent to process my new license. Now, I was retelling this story to some of my local friends, and I teased that God does, in fact, favor me because things had gone so well. Now, I was in and out of both the licensing and title offices within 40 minutes. I mean, can you even believe this? 40 minutes I had done both. I was feeling that rush of accomplishment with such force that I nearly cried. Now, little did I know that would be coming later. I knew in advance here that the DMV didn't really care about my former license nor my plates. They didn't make me surrender them, which was a relief because I felt attached to them in some strange way. See, when I moved to Massachusetts, it was 2001, and my parents had given me a car, and I kept my Texas plates for the first few years while I was in graduate school. In 2004, I was working in my first professional job, and one morning, I went out to the car to leave for work, and my car was gone. It had been stolen from my parking space in my apartment complex. Needless to say, I was devastated. I remember calling my bestie Lisa, and she and I went down to the Brighton Police Department to report it. Now, several days later, it was recovered, but completely trashed and stripped inside. Cigarette burns on the interior, everything personal to me inside the car was gone. Now, needless to say, I had to start over, buy a new car, and this time it would be registered in Massachusetts. Now, I still have those Texas plates from that stolen car, mostly because of the fondness I feel for my home state, but also because it reminds me that I was able to pick up the pieces of what was taken from me and start again. Now, this time around, I was willingly choosing to transfer my plate, so there was no trauma involved, gratefully. But I felt a familiar pang around leaving Massachusetts behind, much like I did with Texas. See, I lived there longer than I ever lived in Texas. I spent some of my most significant years there, living and growing into a full-fledged adult, forming a life composed of friendships, romantic relationships, jobs, successes, losses, love, and grief. Massachusetts holds a profound part of my personal story and always will. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about this course of study that I have come to know about called astrocartography, which is a branch of locational astrology that projects your natal birth chart onto a world map to show you how different geographic locations influence your life. So, based on where the planets and points were positioned at the time of your birth, you can see a variety of lines that correspond to major life themes like transformation, love, expansion, etc. And since I'm curious about astrology in general, I wanted to see what my map looked like. Now, there is a specific line called your Pluto line, which deals with deep transformation, rebirth, and profound personal change. And wouldn't you know it, my Pluto line ran directly through Boston, Massachusetts. Leaving Boston was major for me, and I did it in phases over time. If you know my story, I sold my house in 2023, and I lived nomadically for about 3 years, but I retained my Massachusetts residency. I most recently spent 9 months in New Jersey as a bigger transitional step, but I still hadn't changed my residency. See, fully arriving in North Carolina would mean I had to choose where I was being planted. I couldn't hold both states in equal measure, and I knew that meant finally going to the DMV and formally taking the steps. Now, my car, which I affectionately call Sammy, is the one personal asset that has been with me through all my travel adventures over the last several years. It's been driven across dozens of states, logged thousands of miles, held many friendly passengers, parked inside garages, outside in the elements, and truly been my refuge when I pulled away from people, places, and spaces that changed my whole life. I've cried a lot of tears in Sammy while I replayed moments, imagined new possibilities, and talked to loved ones on Bluetooth all about the things that were unfolding for me. My car has become an anchor to ground me in the present moment over and over again. So when I left the DMV here with those new North Carolina plates in hand, I was a bit unprepared for the mixed emotions I felt about changing them from Massachusetts. It felt appropriate that the bolts on the plate had rusted in some places, marking where the snow, salt, and weather had impacted them. Massachusetts is a state where you put plates on both the front and the rear of your car. North Carolina only requires one on the back. So when I was removing the front plate, I also removed the casing that held the plate onto Sammy's bumper. I stripped away the case, careful not to damage the paint, and the front was now bare. A fresh, clean start. Massachusetts also marks your annual inspection with a sticker on the passenger side of your windshield. I had to remove the sticker, and what was left was years of sticker residue on the glass. I'm telling you, nothing really gets this off. I have tried it all. And then I realized, well, maybe it's okay. It felt honest and true that there's Massachusetts residue still there. Because when I was honest with myself, my own heart holds the residue of Massachusetts still, and probably will for a very long time. And that's when the tears started to fall. I was leaving Massachusetts behind in an official capacity, and I was starting over. Clean, fresh plates on Sammy, a little former life residue on her windshield. So friends, both things are true. I'm starting over and letting go. I'm wildly thrilled with my new state and all that promises to be here. And I'm deeply sad that my former state is now complete. I think starting over will always hold these two tensions. And it's my job not to dismiss either. Hold both in balance as best as I can and keep moving forward. And I know when I feel the familiar pang of Boston, I will thank the universe for the transformation it held, knowing that Chapel Hill has more in store for me yet. So to wrap up this episode, I want to also include a little intuitive reading for you. I mentioned that I wanted to add these now to each week's episode. So I received this message from Spirit, and it's been playing over and over in my head for many days. So please allow me to share it with you. Your heart has the capacity to hold it all. The old, the new, the former, and the what is not yet. Expanding and growing heart capacity takes intention and courage and awareness. It's like ending one era to start a new one. Now, I often hear song lyrics when I'm receiving intuitive information, and I keep hearing the lyrics to a new song by Niall Horan, formerly of One Direction. Now, I wasn't a big 1D fan overall, but I enjoy following their success and how the members have stayed with their art even after the band broke up. Now, they also lost a band member, Liam Payne, who tragically died in 2024. Niall wrote the song End of an Era as a reflection on their years together in One Direction and the sadness over Liam's passing. Now, these lyrics have been playing over and over in my mind, and I think they're perfect for this intuitive message and for today's episode. So the chorus goes a little something like this. Feels like letting go of things we're not supposed to. One breath and it's over, the end of an era. Thanks for listening this week, and I look forward to sharing more with you again soon.